company invested in what were called pioneers of outsourcing. That's not my phrase. That's what reporters call it. And as far as currency manipulation, the currency's actually gone up 11% since I've been president because we have pushed them hard. And we've put unprecedented trade pressure on China. That's why exports have significantly increased under my presidency. That's going to help to create jobs here.
Mr. President, we have a really short time for a quick discussion here. iPad, the Macs, the iPhones, they are all manufactured in China. One of the major reasons is labor is so much cheaper here. How do you convince a great American company to bring that manufacturing back here?
The answer is very straightforward. We can compete with anyone in the world as long as the playing field is level. China's been cheating over the years. One, by holding down the value of their currency. Number two, by stealing our intellectual property, our designs, our patents, our technology. There's even an Apple store in China that's a counterfeit Apple store, selling counterfeit goods. They hack into our computers. We will have to have people play on a fair basis. That's number one. Number two, we have to make America the most attractive place for entrepreneurs, for people who want to expand a business. That's what brings jobs in. The president's characterization of my tax plan is completely false. Let me tell you.
Let me go to the president here because we really are running out of time. And the question is, can we ever get, we can't get wages like that. It can't be sustained here.
Candy, there's some jobs that are not going to come back because they're low-wage, low-skill jobs. I want high-wage, high-skill jobs. That's why we have to emphasize manufacturing. That's why we have to invest in advanced manufacturing. That's why we've got to make sure that we've got the best science and research in the world. And when we talk about deficits, if we're adding to our deficit for tax cuts for folks who don't need them, and we're cutting investments in research and science that will create the next app, create the next new innovation that will sell products around the world, we will lose that race. If we're not training engineers to make sure that they are equipped here in this country, then companies won't come here. Those investments are what's going to help to make sure that we continue to lead this world economy, not just next year, but 10 years from now, 50 years from now, 100
Thanks,
years
Mr.
from now.
President.
Government does not create jobs. Government does not create jobs.
I want to introduce you to Barry Green because he's going to have the last question to you first.
Barry? Hi, Barry.
Hi, Governor. I think this is a tough question. Each of you, what do you believe is the biggest misperception that the American people have about you as a man and a candidate? Using specific examples, can you take this opportunity to debunk that misperception and set us straight?
Thank you. And that's an opportunity for me, and I appreciate it. In the nature of a campaign, it seems that some campaigns are focused on attacking a person rather than prescribing their own future and the things they'd like to do. In the course of that, I think the president's campaign has tried to characterize me as someone who's very different than who I am. I care about 100% of the American people. I want 100% of the American people to have a bright and prosperous future. I care about our kids. I understand what it takes to make a bright and prosperous future for America again. I spent my life in the private sector, not in government. I'm a guy who wants to help with the experience I have, the American people. My passion probably flows from the fact that I believe in God. And I believe we're all children of the same God. I believe we have a responsibility to care for one another. I served as a missionary for my church. I served as a pastor in my congregation for about 10 years. I've sat across the table from people who were out of work and worked with them to try and find new work or to help them through tough times. I went to the Olympics when they were in trouble to try and get them on track. And as governor of my state, I was able to get 100% of my people insured. All my kids, about 98% of the adults, was able also to get our schools ranked #1 in the nation, so 100% of our kids would have a bright opportunity for a future. I understand that I can get this country on track again. We don't have to settle for what we're going through. We don't have to settle for gasoline at $4. We don't have to settle for unemployment at a chronically high level. We don't have to settle for 47 million people on food stamps. We don't have to settle for 50% of kids coming out of college not able to get work. We don't have to settle for 23 million people struggling to find a good job. If I become president, I'll get America working again. I will get us on track to a balanced budget. The president hasn't. I will. I'll make sure we can reform Medicare and Social Security to preserve them for coming generations. The president said he would. He didn't.
Governor.
I'll get our incomes up. And by the way, I've done these things. I served as governor and showed I could get them done.
Mr. President, last 2 minutes belong to you.
Barry, I think a lot of this campaign, maybe over the last 4 years, has been devoted to this notion that I think government creates jobs, that somehow is the answer. That's not what I believe. I believe that the free enterprise system is the greatest engine of prosperity the world's ever known. I believe in self-reliance and individual initiative and risk takers being rewarded. But I also believe that everybody should have a fair shot. And everybody should do their fair share. And everybody should play by the same rules. Because that's how our economy has grown. That's how we built the world's greatest middle class. And that is part of what's at stake in this election. There's a fundamentally different vision about how we move our country forward. I believe Governor Romney's a good man. Loves his family, cares about his faith. But I also believe that when he said behind closed doors that 47% of the country consider themselves victims who refuse personal responsibility, think about who he was talking about. Folks on Social Security who've worked all their lives. Veterans who sacrificed for this country. Students who are out there trying to hopefully advance their own dreams, but also this country's dreams. Soldiers who are overseas fighting for us right now. People who are working hard every day, paying payroll tax, gas taxes, but don't make enough income. And I want to fight for them. That's what I've been doing for the last 4 years, because if they succeed, I believe the country succeeds. And when my grandfather fought in World War II and he came back and he got a GI Bill and that allowed him to go to college, that wasn't a handout. That was something that advanced the entire country. And I want to make sure that the next generation has those same opportunities. That's why I'm asking for your vote, and that's why I'm asking for another 4 years.
President Obama, Governor Romney, thank you for being here tonight. On that note, we have come to an end of this town hall debate. Our thanks to the participants.
I missed it.
And to the people of Hofstra University for their hospitality. And final debate takes place Monday night at Lynn University in Boca Raton, Florida. Don't forget to watch. Election Day is 3 weeks from today. Don't forget to vote. Good night.
And there you have it. The second debate is over, and it was a rocket ride fueled by adrenaline, and you are telling us so much more. You are writing us about the fire in that room, and George, about the tension, the aggression a lot of people were saying in their emails to us. I'm going to put a picture up there in the corner. There you see.
Look.
Well, everybody gets to the picture that sums it up. New York Times photo tonight. How they were dealing with each other in that room.
That is the story of the night. Both candidates decided they were going to rouse partisans tonight, rouse their supporters, not worry so much about those uncommitted voters, maybe many of them in the room who might squirm when they see that kind of tension as the candidates go at each other. But Diane, what you saw tonight, look at that closing statement.
You did a good job.
Talking about the 47% comment of Mitt Romney. That was the answer a lot of Democrats were expecting in the first question to the first debate, and you saw from the start of this debate tonight that President Obama brought the debate the Democrats needed to see from him. He unloaded on Mitt Romney on just about every single issue. Romney did manage to hold his own, especially when he was talking about President Obama's record, when he addressed the questioners directly, but I think that he ended up getting into some trouble when he was arguing with the moderator. And what could be the moment of the night, Diane, is the exchange on where Governor Romney said that President Obama did not refer to an act of terror the day after the attack. When in fact, he said he did, and he was backed up by Candy Crowley, the moderator.
All right, as always, let us go to our Matthew Dowd, who has advised presidential campaigns over 2 decades. Lay it on the line, Matt. Was there a clear victor?
Yeah, very clear victor. President Obama gets the victory in this. Not as overwhelming overwhelming as Mitt Romney, but he gets a victory. And I don't want to mix a lot of sports metaphors, but this was a heavyweight fight. President Obama dropped the rope-a-dope strategy from 2 weeks ago and came out swinging, jab, jab, jab. He didn't knock him out, but he won on points. And that loss that he lost, the points that he lost over the last, since his performance last time, he's going to gain some of those back. Clear victory for President Obama.
I disagree a little bit. I think that Romney had one strategic goal tonight. He had to speak directly to the people, to the voters who voted for Obama last time, that they're unhappy with the pace of recovery. And I didn't think he took as clear of a line to those voters as he could have and as he did 2 weeks ago. But there's a big difference. Tonight he had an opponent in Barack Obama.
And there's Nicole Wallace from the Republican side. How about Donna Brazile for the Democrat?
Well, I'm smiling because I think President Obama came tonight to play ball. He not only took the game to Mitt Romney, he had concise answers, he was feisty, he was in command of the issues, the facts, and from a stylistic point of view, he stood up and he approached not only the person who asked the question, but he was able to respond to Mitt Romney and the things that he didn't do a week ago.
So, George Will, round us out here. Was President Obama the winner tonight?
What?
We're having a little trouble hearing George, and we hate not to hear George.
We'll get back to him as soon as
we will certainly get right
but
back
let me go
to
to Jay Tapper in the room right now. Recently heard that the Obama team was out in force spitting before the debate was even over.
That's right, and one suspects that they were going to say President Obama won this no matter what, but they are, I think even some Democrats not affiliated with the campaign, very happy about the president's performance, saying he was aggressive, he was firm. Maybe he started out a little shaky at the beginning, a little too eager perhaps to mix it up with Mitt Romney, but by the end, Democrats say, people on the Obama campaign say, this is the president that the Americans, people who like President Obama know, assertive, aggressive, and many of them citing that Benghazi back and forth that you alluded to, saying that Mitt Romney was wrong. President Obama did use the term acts of terror in his remarks.